Hey everybody, I'm Becky Adams. Thank you for stopping by today. Today I have a project using the February 2021 Hip Kit Club kits. So it is Cut File Tuesday, so obviously I am working with a cut file today. So I did a couple of things off camera. First of all, I cut the cut file. This is a member cut file. So if you are a subscriber to the Hip Kit Club, then you have access to this cut file over on the Hip Kit website. If you're not a subscriber, you should be. And when you subscribe, then you get access to all sorts of awesome cut files every month. So I cut the cut file out of using my silhouette with white cardstock, and then I backed it with pattern papers from the kit. And the cool thing that I like about kits is that it gives you the opportunity to mix and match products from different manufacturers. So like this paper right here is from Echo Park. This one is from Pink Fresh Studio. This is a Hip Kit exclusive paper, and then both of these pattern papers are Hip Kit exclusives as well. So I have taken this navy that has a lighter blue stitched heart on it, and I cut the center out of the back so that I could save it for another project, because I love both of the sides of this pattern paper. And then I cut down this gray and white scallop, and it's got obviously the hearts on the back, and I cut that down to 11 by 11 to give me a 1/2 inch border around the entire layout. I also added some stitching around the border as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to adhere the cut file. And I just have some foam tape that I have already put on the back of the cut file. And I will just go ahead and peel that backing paper away. I wanted to give this cut file a little bit of lift off the page because I have some other, I believe actually they're die cuts that I want to tuck in and around the cut file. So we'll just take off the last of this backing. And then I'm going to take my T-square ruler and get that set. I want it just about 1 inch above the bottom of, actually we're going to do a little bit more than 1 inch from the bottom. And then I'm just going to center that. And press it down. Okay, I have one photo that I'm working with today. It's a 4x6 photo that I just printed here at home. It's a photo of me and some of my nieces and nephews. I have a deal with them that when we take photos, they had to take a nice one and then we can take a silly one. And quite often, honestly, I like the silly ones more than the regular ones. Depends, but we had just had a sleepover at my house, and they had been having a lot of fun and had some really silly faces for me. So I just adhered that to a piece of the navy pattern paper, and I just want to adhere that right about there, just above the cut file. Okay, and then before I get too involved in adding embellishments and things, I always like to put my journaling in place to make sure that I have plenty of room for the journaling. So I have pre-printed my journaling, and when I print my journaling, I also print the date each time. And sometimes I end up using it and sometimes I don't. I'm not exactly sure what I'll decide to do with this one. I want to see how things go when I get the embellishments kind of laid out before I decide. But that way I've got the date right there handy so that if I want to use a date stamp I can, or if I want to just adhere what I printed, I've got that option as well. So these journaling strips, I just print my journaling on regular old copy paper on my printer at home. I cut them down, or I trim them down, and then I add 1/8" tape, double-sided tape, to the back of each strip, and then I just adhere them in place. It makes it really easy. I do love to use my handwriting as well. You won't see my handwriting super often, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, my handwriting is kind of big and loopy, and I often don't want my journaling to take up as much room as my handwriting would, if that makes sense. And so I print my journaling quite often, but I still have many layouts that my handwriting is on there. And then I also, everything that I do in my planner, when I work in my planner, is in my handwriting. So my handwriting is well preserved. It's just not on every layout I make. So these journaling strips are just overlapping the photo just a little bit. And that's just to do something kind of fun and tie the photo and the journaling together. So I want to add the date to this little label. So I'm going to put that down next, just with a little bit of double-sided tape. And I'm going to tuck that in. In fact, I'm going to trim that down just a little bit. And I just want to add that little label right there at the bottom. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the date. I'm going to stamp it just right on this piece of scratch paper first to make sure that everything looks the way I want it to. And then add the date right there at the bottom. So that's taken care of. And now that I have my 4 main elements, so I've got my title, journaling, photo, and date, then I like to start adding embellishments. So the first thing that I wanted to add is there's this really cute die cut. I believe it's in the embellishment kit that says always better together. And it was kind of a little speech bubble, but for this purpose I just wanted it to be an oval. And I am adding a little bit of tape to the back, peeling off the backing, and I'm going to put that just right there in the center of the queue. And then if you've watched me, or if you've seen any of my videos, or are familiar with my work, you know that I love tags and I add them to nearly every project that I create. Since you're only going to be seeing the top portion of the tag here, I'm going to save this bottom portion for another project. I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive here on the back, peel off the backing, and tuck this tag right here under the edge of the photo. And with that in place, I'm just going to tie a bow in this one quickly. I'm going to put two tags here close together. And when I do that, I usually do the tops of the tags a little bit differently. So on this one will have a bow, and then the other one, I think I'll just tie a knot in it. So we'll just tie a knot in the top of this one. Whoops. And trim that one down just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Trim off the bottom portion of that tag and save it for another project and just adhere the top. That's a fun way to stretch your supplies because the bottoms of both of those tags are really cute and can be used on another project. So I'm just going to take this lighter blue tag and tuck it up here at the top, just even with the photo. Okay, and then I have a few flower die cuts. These are from the Pink Fresh Studio Someday collection that I want to add in and around my title. So I've got some adhesive foam squares. I am actually out of the smaller ones, so I'm just going to cut some of those in half because I know I will need some smaller ones, like on this flower, for example. Then I need to make a note to myself to order some more smaller squares. We'll just put one little section of adhesive on each bloom. And then this one, I want to tuck that. I'm going to kind of trim this bottom part off and tuck that right there so it kind of looks like the flower is coming out from behind the title there. And I'm going to get one more piece of foam adhesive to put right there behind the leaf. Okay, so I want to add, let's see, I think this one we'll put over here, and this one I kind of want to tuck right here at the bottom. I'm going to trim this section down a little bit because I want it to kind of tuck around like that. I'm going to just trim down this one little flower so that you can see the date, and that will work perfectly. So just holding that in place, we'll put a pop dot. Whoops, got that just a little bit crooked. Move over so that we can see the date. And then I'll take some of these foam squares that I cut in half. They fit perfectly under these leaves. Whoops, that one's already got one. And adhere that one in place. Okay, and I want a pop of yellow down here as well. I'm going to have this yellow flower over here. I've got some yellow over here. And I want to make sure that there is some yellow down here as well. So I have just this little flower that I'm going to tuck. Let's see, do I want it right there? Actually, I think I kind of like it. I think right there. So it's kind of growing up in between those two flowers. And then this last die cut, and I think this one we're going to trim down quite a bit so that it just fits right there along the T. We'll just do the same thing, add a little bit of foam adhesive, a couple along the way over here as well, and tuck that one in place. Okay, so we've got the visual triangle created there with the flowers. We've got date, title, everything's coming together perfectly. I just want to add a few enamel dots to finish things off. So I think I'm going to stick with this light blue. Actually, maybe let's go with this lighter blue and the yellow. Now, I'm gonna use, let's see, what some smaller ones. We're gonna use mostly smaller ones here because we don't have a ton of room. I think over here we're even only gonna do 2 of them. And the same thing over here as well. And with these yellow ones, I just wanted to add them to the centers of a couple of these flowers. And I'm going to add one just over here on that flower to finish things up. And with that, I'm going to call this one finished. So thank you for so much for stopping by. I will leave all the information for the Hip Kit Club in the description box below. Make sure that you check out the February 2021 kits. I will make sure and leave all the information for the Hip Kit Club in the description box below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out, and I will see you again soon.